Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. February 1st is the deadline for employers to issue and file wage statements. IRS Tax Tip 2021-01, January 4th, 2021. Employers must file Form W-2 and other wage statements by Monday, February 1st, 2021. The date here, Monday, February 1st, 2021, is emboldened. So the IRS is really emphasizing that one here. In any case, so this is also the date Form W-2s are due to employees. By law, employers are required to file copies of their W-2 wage and tax statements. There's a link to the W-2 wage and tax statements here if you want to take a look at that. And Form W-3, transmittal of wage and tax statements. There's a link to that here as well. So obviously the employer's got to issue the W-2s. They got to issue the W-2s to both the employees and the government, in essence. And the W-3 is going to be basically the summary statement that's kind of summing up all of the W-2s that the government wants. So with the Social Security Administration, it's got to go to the Social Security Administration as well, to the government, by January 31st. However, since January 31st falls on a Sunday in 2021, the deadline is the next business day, which is going to be Monday, February 1st. So you got that extra day here. So that's nice. So Form 1099 Miscellaneous Income, there's a link to that here, and Form 1099 NEC, Non-Employee Compensation, there's a link to that here, are also due to recipients on February 1st, 2021, with some exceptions. Other due dates related to Form 1099 are listed in the instructions for these forms. So note, there could be some businesses more than normal this year that are no longer in business, right? More businesses would have had to close this year. Just, you want to make sure to follow through with the payroll information, because the payroll information could cause problems in the future. So whatever happens in 2021, you don't want to, be dealing with payroll problems from 2020. So even if you kind of stop the business basically in the middle of the year or something like that, you want to make sure that you're finishing everything out as best you can with the payroll for sure. And then the 1099s is also kind of an issue with that as well. So I think it's less of a really big kind of issue as the payroll, which could cause problems in the future. But it's still something that is going to be important. So if you stopped in the middle of the year, you close the business in the middle of the year or something like that, you still want to be making sure you're doing your year-end closing information, which would include the 1099 forms that you got to send out as well. Again, just to make sure that in the following year, when you push on to whatever the next thing is that's going to be coming up, then you're not dealing with this with a business that's been closed and you're trying to move past. Okay, so then timely filing helps prevent fraud. So filing wage statements on time and without errors is beneficial to employers and the IRS. The employer avoids penalties and the IRS has time to verify income taxpayers' report on their tax return, which helps prevent fraud. E-file is the quickest, most accurate, and convenient way to file these forms. So obviously they want the e-file if possible. There's a link to the e-file here. The law requires certain filers who file 250 or more information returns for any calendar year to file electronically. So if you have 250 or more information returns, then you have to file electronically. But it's probably the way to go in any case. So employers should plan and prepare early. Good preparation now can help employers avoid problems later. For instance, employers can start by verifying or updating employee information such as names, addresses, social security numbers, individual taxpayer identification numbers. So again, the payroll is something that it can be a little bit tedious to do. It's very tedious to do, but you want to basically do it right and do it the year-end filing, of course, when you get the W-2s out there and the end quarterly 941 and the 940. You want to make sure all those things kind of tie together properly, because payroll is going to be one of those types of things where you don't really want to just try to put it together, and if it doesn't work, then you just try it again. It's one of those things you want to measure twice and cut once, as they say. With the payroll is the best way to go. Also, the payrolls where many people have the most kind of problems in terms of lawsuits or something like that could be related to employees and payrolls and whatnot. So again, I think it's worthwhile to spend a little bit more time on it and try to get that done well. So employers should be sure their account information is current and active with the Social Security Administration as soon as possible. Lastly, employers should order paper form W-2s if needed. There's a link to order paper forms here. Automatic extensions of time to file W-2s are not available. The IRS will only grant extensions for very specific reasons. For details, employers should read the instructions for Form 8801, application for extension of time to file information returns. There's a link to that here. For more information, we have the links to Form W-2 and W-2 instructions and information return penalties. There's a link to those items here. There'll be a link to this in the description.